I mean, well, I'll tell you, one of the things that I always liked about, so I coined this term a few years back. You know this, Gene, but for your listeners, like this term called responsive web design, which was a way of thinking about designing websites that could work on any device.
Yeah.
So phone, tablet, desktop, internet connected fridge. The idea was you could design one website and it would automatically work well in pretty much any context. But the thing that I always thought about, like thoughtful design around responsive layouts, was trying to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, like as a mobile user, as a tablet user, whatever, and trying to think about the best experience for them.
Yeah.
And in the conversations that I had with all these workers and organizers who are, in the middle of this really hard work, that's the thing I heard over and over again, because it's all those conversations that they're having with people. And even if you're talking with somebody who disagrees with the idea of a union, at the end of the day, you're trying to be a listener. Like, you're trying to understand what it is that works for them about their work, what doesn't work for them, and then trying to find a way together to move things forward. So I don't know, that feels a little bit like the through line for me from early part of my design career up to today. But the other thing too I'll say is, like, I mentioned this earlier, this is a thing that's happening right now, and it's a big change for our industry in a lot of ways. I do think it's the path forward to like a more equitable version of tech work in the tech industry. And that applies to folks like you and me. It applies to all kinds of tech workers who might be working in fulfillment warehouses or driving sort of on the gig economy side, working in their cars, getting paid per ride. Like, those are tech workers too, and they deserve, not just a union, but, a fairer version of tech work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there are a lot of rideshare drivers in this country.
Absolutely.
Faux show.
Absolutely. And that's why the companies they work for are fighting tooth and nail to keep them classified as contractors.
For sure.
Well,
they don't even want to classify themselves as taxis. Let's start there. There's not a tech. Come on, man. Uber's not a tech company.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yep.
But that was, that's a different conversation.
That's a different conversation.
Well, right. So we're tech workers, but we're using the word tech. It's really anyone who like uses a computer, really, like creatives, the whole kit and caboodle. So there's this thing that no one knows what to deal with, and it's AI.
Yep.
Nobody knows what's going to happen. We're all scared. Skynet's coming. I've got my generator. I'm ready. Got my food stores.
Good, man. Good.
My compound bow.
Amazing.
But you can school me, but it seems like a lot of the Screen Actors stuff, which I think they have solved the writers, but they're still working on the actors thing.
Right.
A lot of that is like computer and AI based from what I saw. I'm sure there's more to it. I'm sure there's some backroom stuff that we're none of us are privy to, but it seemed like a lot of it was about the use of AI and then AI generated characters and using your likeness and things like that.
Right.
What I was reading one of your articles, I don't know what it's called, wbur.org.
Oh yeah.
In your quote, you were like, what's remarkable about the two unions' approach to AI is that they're not looking to ban the software outright, but to sharply and sensibly regulate it. So it's a big setup for like, I'm scared of AI.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I am too. And I think it's,
but it wasn't about not using it. It was about regulating the use of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it's like, I want to be excited about this technology because on the face of it, some of it is pretty remarkable. I don't think it's as world changing as some of the folks selling it would like to suggest.
I don't think it is either.
Yeah, there's a lot of promise there, but I think at the end of the day, it does beg that question of, what does it mean to be a designer if somebody can type a few words in a box and get a decent like digital illustration, just to start with, and what does it mean to be a writer if you can give ChatGPT a prompt and it spits out a couple pages for you just in seconds? And I think that's the thing about AI that I think needs the attention that like in Hollywood they were giving it, because the process of like when we think about computers taking our jobs, it's not an overnight thing.
Right.
It's not like we show up at work one day and there's, you know, a box with ChatGPT labeled on it. And we have to
At
go
your
home
desk.
and yeah.
That would be kind of cool, though.
That would be kind of cool, actually. Yeah, yeah, I'd watch that sitcom. But the you know, so like the writers, for example, like they were very worried that like studios were going to start using something like ChatGPT for script treatments or for story
Hmm.
concepts, and then basically human workers get sort of farmed out for like AI cleanup jobs for much
Hmm.
less money, and that like that wage reduction, that devaluation of human work, that's where the process starts. And so the union contract is kind of a way to like recenter, okay, well, if this technology is here, how can we use it in a way that's going to benefit workers and ensure workers are protected? And so uh, you know, this wasn't the only thing that the two unions are organizing around, but for the writers guild, I mean, basically like it banned the use of that tech for those like upfront creative tasks,
Hmm.
ensuring that workers were going to use the going to be hired for them. But you know, there's actually a provision in there that I think that says, you know, writers will still be able to use ChatGPT if the studio agrees to it, but like they get to make that decision.
Right. It's their tool.
It's their tool,
Yeah.
exactly. It puts them in charge, and I think that's the thing. And unions, and I mentioned this in the book, but like union contracts have been used to protect workers from the effects of automation in other industries for decades and decades.
Right.
And
Right.
you know, there's an opportunity to learn from the lessons of the past and the moment we're in right now.
Yeah. I mean,